All right, I'm gonna talk about how to build your dream life. Um, so I am living my best life. I am truly living my dream life. I have hardships and troubles too, like everybody else. And believe me, they can pull me down, like, and I go through periods. But living your dream life is easy. It's honestly easy. You just believe it. You have to believe it, and you have to see it, and you have to say it, and you have to I don't know, adjust the way that you speak to yourself and to the universe. So basically, I feel like you can make anything happen if you believe in it strong enough and you say it enough times. And that's how I've like actually almost trapped myself into my businesses. Like if I have something exciting that I want to do, when I decided to open Hair Teenies, I would go to people and be like, I'm gonna open my own salon. I'm gonna open my own salon. I was saying that since I was decided to go to beauty school at 18. And I had some friends that tried to discourage me because they're like, oh, hairdressers, da 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 da. And like it's not really a career, which that's like a huge misconception in our business. And it's frankly offensive. I think people don't realize that we're valued and how valuable that we are in society. We not only like make you look beautiful, but we listen to all your shit and make you feel beautiful too. And if that's not like getting paid for one job but doing two, I don't know what else is. And I'm not discounting anybody else's job out there. Believe me, everybody works hard. It's just that we uh we sometimes don't get as much credit as I feel that we should, whether it's that we're intelligent or that we could know things other than just hair. I've met some really interesting people. Recently, I was at a wedding, and this woman asked me what my credentials were to make the skincare line. And I was like, I didn't really know what she meant by that. And I was like, she's like, well, because I'm a pharmacist. And I was like, okay, but are you an esthetician? Um, like, are you, and can anybody go back to school and educate themselves for anything? Like I knew a basis of skincare from school, but I re-educated myself to finish this and do this. And it was, in my opinion, driven by a higher purpose because I was meant to help women and be empowered, like both like in their everyday life, and women that are struggling through their everyday life. So anyway, so Hair Teenies, we I was doing hair a at my salon at the time, and this woman asked me if it was hard being a single mom and working, and I was like, oh no. I'm like, honestly, the work is at home. I come here to have a good time, and if they put a mini bar in the back, I'd hang out here. And so basically we laughed about it, and then I said I could call it Hair Teenies, and we laughed about it. And then I was like, came home to my boyfriend, which was Sean at the time, and I was like, I think I have a really good idea here. Like, I think I should jump on this. And he was like, well, what about kids coming in? What about this? What about that? And I was like, yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. And I'm like, I don't think it would matter though. It's not like I wouldn't only have martinis. Like, I wanted to serve martinis. Sex in the City was big then, and they were just a big thing. So, anyway, I kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit, probably about 3 weeks. And I went out to eat, and I ran into another stylist who was a male. And he said to me, hey, how you doing? Whatever. And I'm like, good. And he was moving to Colorado with his brother to do hair. Like, they all did hair. Um, and he was like, I don't know how you do it. Like, all, and you're so chill about everything. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he was like, sometimes I just want to hand these women a martini and tell them to shut the fuck up. And I looked at Sean and I was like, I'm doing this. Like, that was it. That was like my sign from the universe. Like, because I hadn't seen this person in forever. And it was like, why would you say this specific thing to me? So, like, this is one of the reasons that I have become successful. Like, I listen to like nudges, and a lot of people just miss that. Like a lot of people would have laughed at that and just caught it as a joke. I heard it as a message. I heard it as a message that I was being told to move forward with this bizarre, crazy dream that I just thought up. And I was scared to death. I won't lie. Sean was super encouraging. I could not have done it without him. He watched those kids like, I rebuilt the salon at night. I would put the kids to bed at 10, and then he would be in bed, obviously, for work. And then I would go down to the salon and I would paint or whatever until 4 in the morning. And then I would come home and I would get up and I would take the kids to preschool or whatever I had to do. Adrian was 3 at the time, my youngest son, and he actually came with me every day in the morning when I took the other kids to preschool, and he helped me put all the wallpaper in the bathroom and toddled around while I painted. And I mean, he helped the whole time. They all did. All the kids did. They always pitched in. Sean did too. But I feel like my kids were more of a forefront in painting and doing things like that than Sean was. He was there for like the moral support whenever I lost my shit and just telling me that I could do it. So anyway, I was driving my son to karate, and I drove past this like little small storefront in Irwin, and I saw that it was for rent. It was at the end of town, and it had these beautiful double doors. To me, it looked like something out of Chicago, even though I'm in downtown Irwin. But I called about it, and she was like, yeah, it's still available. And I went down to look at it. And when I went in to look at it, the floor was so crooked. Like, it was so crooked that there was no way a chair could even, like, you would have been, like, leaning, like, like, you could not even do your hair. So, I talked to the landlord, and we built a platform, and put a new floor in. And, I repainted everything, and, I made these, like, satin, squares to give the ceiling, because it was a drop ceiling, just something to look at. Like they were just cardboard and spray adhesive, and I just slipped them underneath all of the I might do that again. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, I was sick of the way the ceiling looks up there. But anyway, because I've remodeled recently. But so I'm all over the place. But so I rented my space on September 22nd in 2005. And I opened officially for business January 3rd, 2006. My first day, I didn't have one client, and I sat there. And at the end of the day, some kid came in that I met somewhere having a drink, and I was much younger then. I went out more. And he gave me a $50 tip, and he was like, it was my only haircut that day, and he was like, don't get discouraged. He had his own business. He was like, I mean, you could do this. Like, this is really great. You could do this. And it made me cry, and that was wonderful. But like, I was having a serious panic attack, because when I opened my salon, I was working for somebody else as an independent contractor, and I paid rent. My rent paying to him, including my reception fee, was more money than I was paying to my landlord in Irwin, which was crazy to me. And so I just figured, like, well, if I can afford to pay him and they all follow me, I can afford to pay this. And I leaped. And I only had 13 hours of clients booked when I opened my salon for the first time. I was 30 years old. I can't believe that. I thought I was so grown. um, that was, sorry. I never thought I could do something so amazing and so cool at that time. And with my whole, like, reason for doing it, giving people a safe space to be in, I never imagined how far it would take me and where it would take me, and the wonderful people I would meet, the beautiful, educated people that I've met. Like, I feel like I've been educated by doctors and nurses, and because, like, my clients are phenomenal. I mean, I have one that wrote a book. I have two, like, heads of hospitals. Like, one ran a company, I just have had amazing experiences with these humans, and I've learned a lot from these humans, and I'm thankful for each and every one of them that have ever been in my chair, because whether you were there for a while or there for a minute, I'm sure I learned something from you. So anyway, Hair Teenies opens, and we're not doing good, like, I'm scared. And at the end of my first week, I made my rent, and I ended up with a little bit more money in my pocket than I usually did. And I was super excited about that, because I was like, I'm just going to pay the rent by, like, every week, because I was scared to do it every month. Like, I don't know why. I was just scared. So from there, I decided, because there was not social media back then, I wanted to get busier faster. So I made flyers, and And I went and I printed them at the library because I didn't have the internet or a computer, because I had the kids, and Sean at the time was laid off, and I was the only one working. So uh, when I look at these times, I just don't even know how I got through any of it. So anyway, lost my train of thought. I was the only one working at the time. Oh, so I made all these flyers up. And so all these flyers like are starting to go out, okay? And I was like, I'm just gonna hit every restaurant in the area. And I asked for the manager. I'd go right up to the manager and I'd be like, can you put this in the back? Like let people know I'm opening. I'm gonna give everybody a coupon, blah, 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 blah. And that's what I did. And then I decided to get a cell phone for the business instead of a landline. So I had the phone in the book with me at all times. My poor children hated me at the end there because I didn't know when to stop carrying it with me. It got to the point where like I was answering the phone 8, 9 times a day, and then I had stylists with me, and then it got crazy. So I just continued to pass out flyers. Well, when I didn't get much business from the initial passing of the flyers out, like to the restaurants and local businesses, I then decided to make up flyers, and I went to every fancy neighborhood in my area, and I parked my car and I walked those neighborhoods and I put a flyer in everyone's door. And within 6 months, which is like if any hairstylists are listening out there, this is a crazy amount of time. 6 months, I had 36 hours of clients booked, and was still growing and growing and growing. And then I got my first stylist, and then I got my second stylist, and then I got my third stylist, and then I had an assistant, and I outgrew my space. So I then purchased a old pizza shop. It was huge. It was 2,500 square feet. I didn't know if I was going to get it or not, but I kept saying into the universe, this is happening. I'm going to get it. I know I'm going to get it. I'm just going to get it. I walked in. I felt tingles. Like, don't be afraid to be hopeful, guys. Don't be afraid to just be like, yeah, this is happening. Like, because so what if it doesn't? If it doesn't happen, even if you say it 1,000 times, well, oh well, like, but you're only going to lose if you don't try. Like, you've got to try. If you don't even go out there and be like, well, I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. Well, guess what? I didn't get it. I lost the building to a cash buyer, and I was so sad about it. And, I said to my friend, I was like, I still have a feeling I'm going to get this building. And he was like, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, I have a feeling about it. And 3 days later, the cash deal fell through. They accepted my offer, and I closed on the building December 12th. And that would have been 4.5 years of it. So 2010. I ended up with 9 girls at one point. I had a tanning place, an esthetician, pedicures, feet, nails. I had 6 stylists, and I'm going to tell you what, one of my very dear friends, her name was Robin, or is Robin, hey girl, said to me, and this is really good advice, and I want to share it with all of you because I wish I would have listened, but the experience was worth the journey. So Robin said, my dad owns a construction company, and you really, he said that sometimes bigger isn't always better. You should just stay where you are. And I had these big dreams. I wanted to be famous, remember? I was going to be known for something. And so I did it. Well, then shortly after that, Sean and I had been married, but this was when his chemical dependency had started. He'd hurt his back, and he was prescribed medicine, and this was during the OxyContin rage, and he worked in a doctor's office, and they gave them free samples, and they were accessible like they were Tylenol, and he liked to chase it with a lot of alcohol, and I feel like the pills were like the catalyst that created all the problems at that point. We always liked to drink, but it was now he liked to chase it with something else, and his personality from the light that he had began to change. And I didn't want to go here on this trip, but I guess I'm going to. I think it's really important that I share this story, and I think it's important to Sean that I share this story. And I don't know how to explain that. Um, but it was I got a message when I was in New York that was very specific about it. And I didn't expect it because I wasn't even going to do these stories because I wanted to protect him so much because he was so wonderful, but when he was on chemicals, he was not wonderful. And I think there's a lot of people out there that need to hear that like, just because this person is wonderful, not on chemicals, doesn't mean that it's okay that they're mean to you when they are on chemicals. And it was never like, it was nothing like the first, you know what I mean? It was more grabby and yelling and things like that. But I was never hit, you know, I was intimidated and things like that, I guess. But I hear myself say that, and I don't want you to think that like just because you don't have a bruise doesn't mean that it isn't abuse. And that's the hardest part, I think, especially when you come from an environment that wasn't like self-esteem well fed, or like a lot of encouragement, you know. And again, I think my parents did the best they could with what they had to deal with growing up. But and I think each generation tries to get better. But anyway, back to the Haritinis. So him and I split up due to the chemicals and things like that. And I closed on the building December 12th, and he moved out January 7th. That I don't know what year that was. So 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. Anyway, so here I am stuck with a huge building that I'm gutting and 4 kids. And so the only way that I could get it done affordably was I had one light that the people that were helping me, that I paid to build it, left for me. And I would tuck the kids in at night again and go down there, and I would paint until 4 or 5 in the morning. I knocked 9 walls down. And this is going to be an interesting end to this story. I knocked 9 walls down, put in all new floors, all new drywall. I didn't do that part. I paid somebody else to do that. I knocked the walls down though, and I did fill 2 6-ton dumpsters up with a lot of help, actually. I had friends that would pop in on me and knock. They'd see me work and they'd pop in. My one friend, Jeffrey, he was there like almost every night, and we were just absolutely silly. Like he made it so much fun. He helped me fill all the dumpsters up. And on I was working January 7th when Sean left, and we opened that salon, 2,500 square feet, completely remodeled. I was there every night until 4 in the morning. Again, I don't know how I did that. But May 4th, we opened in 2011. And we were booming. I mean, it was great, but it was so much stress. Like, these girls were like, I mean, one thing I'll tell you about hairstylists, like, they treat the job like they're waitresses. They don't take it seriously. They don't, and this is one of the reasons that I'm like, this is a career. Like, I raised 4 kids. I had a car, 2 cars actually, a house, a roof over their head, a big house. We all had a bedroom. Their own bedroom. The girls shared at the end there. But anyway, and it is a viable career that people like don't treat it that way. And it's very aggravating. But I didn't even get any child support from dad number 2 because he was unable, and due to his chemicals. And dad number 1 did everything he could, took me back every year to get it reduced. $700 a month, $730 a month is what I got for the first 3 kids. I got nothing for the 4th kid. So for me to have a house and 2 cars and all this stuff, like, I did it. I did it. Like, his support covered my car insurance every month, my business insurance, and then whatever was left over, I saved, and that was how I went on vacation every year. So for my kids, because I was not going to I wanted to make sure they got a vacation. So Hairitinis now is blowing up, and I'm having difficulty with stylists, in and out and out and out. And my last stylist, who was probably my hardest working stylist up to this point, and she was with me the longest. And I love her. Like, she was a crazy woman, and the shit that came out of her mouth, oh my God. But like, I don't think Hair Teenies would be as wild if I wouldn't have had her, because she made it like some of the stuff I'd be like, oh my God, you can't say that in here. But then people loved it. People loved it. And so we pushed the bar a little more and pushed the bar a little more. And she helped bring that environment into Hair Teenies that I wanted, where it was like, you could do whatever you want. Like, this is a free space. This is free. You could cry, you could laugh, you could swear, you could talk about sex, you could do whatever, as long as there's no kids around. I mean, we're careful with kids, obviously, but like, um, and we built these beautiful, I mean, I had fun at work every single day. I still do. I still love going in there. I'm down to 2 days a week now because of the skin line. But every hour I'm there, I live to be there. I love it. So I realize, and this is when I realized, I mean, I'm horribly depressed now. I'm missing Sean so much. I like loved him to death. And I was in love with the person that wasn't on the chemicals. And I asked him to come back. And then I realized that it was just, that was a terrible idea, that it was not, even though we loved each other so much, there was no way that we were going to be able to work through this together, because I just was not raising my kids in this crazy environment where like my 3-month-old is like being held by him and I'm being yelled at and backed into a corner, and she's not reacting, which means she's used to this. And my oldest son tried to like stop him from walking me into the corner, and I looked at past him and looked at my oldest daughter and was like, you better stop your brother, because I could tell where he was, that he would have hurt Anthony. Like, he never, I just think that his eyes were not in the right space. Anyway, my 11-year-old tackled my 12-year-old to the ground, son, and Anthony was so strong that I couldn't even like get him down when he was 7. Like, he could wrestle the crap out of me. Like, so I can't even believe that the fear that she must have had. Anyway, that was the last day I spent in the house with him. And that was that. Now, the pain of that relationship was excruciating. And then I had this salon that was driving me insane. And the 4 kids and the old building and the old house. And I wasn't supposed to cry in this one. And I felt like my life was falling apart. Like, I felt like when I was at home and they were always calling me and like, oh, this one didn't put the garbage bags in. And I'm like, really, you people are adults. And then when I was at work, like Anthony was getting older and ornery, and like, I mean, like the kids would call and he'd be leaving the house. And I just was like, it was just a very difficult time. And then my friend Jeffrey came over one day, and he had a way of just like, he always could like make me laugh. Like, he was hilarious. And so he walks in and I had a box of wine on my nightstand and a wine glass. And I was so like depressed at this point that I was just spinning the wine glass. And every time I'd move it the next day to the lip print. I mean, like, I'd rinse it, you know what I mean? There wasn't nothing weird in it, but like, I didn't wash that glass until I got to the lip prints met. And Jeffrey was like, oh, this is nice. He's like, this right here is an absolute mess. He was like, whatever you need to do to fix it, I suggest you do it, because this should never be happening. And he made me laugh so hard, but he made me look at myself in a way that I was like, wow, like, this is a mess. Like, I am a mess. And I was dating, I don't know if I was dating Jeremy at the time. I think I met Jeremy shortly after that. Like, I met Jeremy, yeah, it would have been shortly after that. It was Sean and I, but we were apart 2 years. So my timeline's not going to match up because I'm old now and I don't remember any of it, but you get the gist. So, anyway, so at that point, if I wasn't dating Jeremy yet, I decided that I needed to make changes in my life. And then by the time I was dating Jeremy, I think we were together almost a year. I think it was almost a year. And I called him just one day. And again, this is Heather making her decisions. And when I say to you, like, I had a dream that night and I listened to the universe, and the dream, I can't even tell you what it said. I don't remember it. I just remember thinking, like, I have to sell the salon. And I woke up and it was 9 a.m. and I called Jeremy on the phone, my boyfriend at the time. And I was like, I'm going to sell the salon. And he was like, what? And I'm like, I'm selling the salon. And he was like, can I talk you out of it? I'm like, nope. And he was like, are you serious? I said, yep. And I called an ally in the business, and she owned her own salon. And I asked her that if I sold, would I be able to work under her and pay her rent with my girls until I found a spot, because I didn't want to go out of business. I just like didn't want this big space anymore. It was getting to be too much. And I had like either lost everybody or fired everybody at that point, because one fell asleep blowing someone dry. One was stealing from me. The millennials almost killed me. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry, millennials. Sorry, but you guys almost killed me. But anyway, so the girl I called said, well, you know what? I think I want to buy it. And so we made a deal, and I bought that building in a foreclosure, basically, and I flipped it. And with it, I got a tummy tuck, and because I had 4 kids, and no matter what I did at the gym, there was just things that was not coming back. I injected a little fat in my booty because I did not have one, and I decided I wanted one. Which, by the way, if you ever decide to do that, I'm going to tell you, I've had hip pain ever since. So think about it twice, because I think it redistributed my weight funny on my bones or my joints or something. And my hips have never been the same, but my hips don't lie. And then I put a down payment on my childhood home that I have dreamt of buying back for 30 years. And I bought that with my husband now, who we are still married, and we have a beautiful life together. And I'm going to tell you, it wasn't always easy, and you're going to hear those stories too. But through like love, prayer, a lot of strength, and understanding, like on both parts, we have come out of the other side of a lot of things together. And in the true definition of love is choosing to love somebody every day. Like, you can have a feeling, and of course I had that feeling with Joey. I fell in love with him in like 2 days. Like, I told you that already. It was a weekend and I was madly in love with him. But then when things get tough, like, that's when you have to choose to love somebody, even on their bad days. Like, even if you need to leave for a day and love them tomorrow, I mean, that's fine too. But like, that's truly how I'm making this. We are making this relationship work. And he's adapted some better mindsets about life and positivity for himself, which he needed to do. So I'm going to finish this up, because this is not supposed to be 30 minutes at all. After I sold Hairtini's, the big building, I ended up in another spot. Because I just needed to get there quick. And it was the worst spot. I hated it. I was ready to go out of business. And I was just done. But the nudge I got in that dream that said, sell it, whatever that was, it made all my dreams come true. By letting something go that was destroying me, made all my dreams come true. And the hardest part about that was my dream. I wanted to be I wanted to have a chain. I was going to have a Hairtini's all across the United States. I was going to kill it. And at the end of the day, I had to make a choice and realize that that was not the dream that I had intended for me. And that was not the life that I had thought it would be. And with much of a heavy heart, believe me, when I sold the place, my camera ended up getting stolen. And this is the ending twist that I wanted to tell you about. And I never found it. In those 3.5, 4 years that I spent there, every picture I have one photograph of that salon. And it makes me think that I was never meant to be there. But I was, because look where I am now. But I think it's weird that I don't have one photograph. I only have one photograph of that place. But after I sold it, and I feel like that we do this so much as people. We hold on to things because we feel a certain way about them. And when you separate your feeling and really look logically at what this is doing to you, you're able to sit there and say, you know what? This is not right for me. It's not. And when you close that door and you realize it, the doors that open for you are always abundant. That's all I can say. I'm going to end it there. I'm going to have to remember where I left off because I'll have to finish off like the second part of the Hardini story, which would be the Route 30 location. And then I have a spin at the end for you next time. So I hope you're all doing great, being happy, manifest, say good things to yourself, love yourself a little more, and I will see you the next time. Bye.